Hey everyone, my name is Kevin Grush and I am the CEO of Maiden Network, and we help build and manage YouTube channels for some of the top personalities on the internet. Today we have Matty Matheson, chef extraordinaire, author, video host. He does a little bit of everything, and we're going to dive into everything Matty's got going on. Matty, thanks for being here.
Yeah, Kevin. Well, yeah, obviously you're welcome, for being able to talk to me. And I'm really excited to talk to you about all the amazing things that I've done and all the amazing things we're going to be doing together. And I'm excited. I'm just gonna
talk at you for a minute about all the stuff that's happened this year. And in the midst of like a really tough year in a lot of ways, and a lot of challenges that this year's presented, there's been some pretty crazy stuff that you've been up to, which is just like worth noting and again talking at you and complimenting you to your face. First full year of your YouTube channel, almost at 800,000 subscribers. Across that time, over 38 million views on your original shows on your channel, which is a pretty incredible number. That's finishing season 1 of Just a Dash, launching your podcast, Powerful Truth Angels, filming and launching season 2 of Just a Dash, filming and launching Homestyle Cookery, which was filmed in a barn that was renovated to be built out as your studio. That's just in the shows on your channel. That doesn't include the show you did with Eat Out America on Benny Blanco's channel, and then outside of YouTube world, you had another kid. You had a New York Times best-selling cookbook. You have a line of cookware, restaurants, pop-ups, so much that happened this year. I mean, it's pretty incredible. It's been so exciting working with you. And the question that I always have when it comes to you, Matty, is, how do you make time? How do you balance going from one creative endeavor to another? Because you're always so full of energy and drive. I mean, what do you think allows you to do that?
Well, it's thank you. It's always funny to hear all the stuff I'm doing being told back to me. How do I spend my time? It's one of these things where I get an idea and I'm like, I want to do this. And then I have an amazing, a very small, very tight crew, good team, and we're able to make things happen, And I think everyone is pushing each other in such a great way, and just has. I think we just have this like vision of like being able to make a world for ourselves, where we're all kind of just trying to make it, like the whole thing about it is just like, I just don't want a boss ever again in my life. And I think the thing about it is like, me and my friends happen to run my business, and we get to kind of do whatever we want. We're like, hey, should we make a cast iron pan? I know amazing people that are designers, that are fabricators and can design things and do stuff. Sure, let's get it. Hey, I want to make a new YouTube show. I want to, the thing about it, I always say that we're like just dumb enough to do it kind of thing, where we overthink things a lot. Like, I don't want to make it sound like we're just like, hey, like, let's do this and that. And I don't want to belittle the work. But what I think is that we're able, because of my ADD brain, we are able to kind of push ourselves to do a lot of things, and we balance. We have like I have a logistics person that just organizes all of us, and we just put together every single day. And we prioritize with what needs, the squeaky wheel gets the oil in every business. So it's like, what needs the work? What needs the attention? How do we keep moving forward? And how do we do all of this with as little friction as possible? And so we can move in a way that we like, in the speed that I like to move in, because I know that a lot of things don't happen. So I like to do things very quickly. I like to do things, as good as I can. And I'm not trying to, I don't have to worry about making a rocket ship and putting it up into space with a bunch of astronauts and it's going to blow up. We're making fun things, you know? It's one of those things that it's just like, I'm not trying to remake The Godfather. I'm trying to cook and show somebody how to make whatever I'm cooking. Yeah. So it really is kind of one of those things that allows us to, I'm trying to make people laugh. I'm trying to get people excited about cooking. That's it. And I think with that kind of mentality, we're able to kind of do the kind of output that we're doing,
Yeah, I mean, and, seeing this firsthand and working with you, you have this ability. I mean, I think some people, when they're working on so many different projects, it's really easy to say, okay, I know you're in charge of this, you're in charge of this, you're in charge of this, and they just delegate the roles. And you do a good job of that, but you're also really involved in pushing forward the creative vision for each of the projects. I mean, you have a vision for what you want the final product to be, both from just an entertainment standpoint, from a kind of a utility standpoint of it, but also the details of kind of the aesthetic and really making it as good as it possibly can be. Is that the part that you enjoy the most? Because to me, you're an animated dude in everything that you do, but you come to life really when you're driving the creative. I mean, when you're throwing out ideas for the show and when you get the vision for what it is. Is that what you enjoy the most, kind of out of the overall process?
Yes, yeah. I love the ideation of everything. Like I really do love. Like that click moment when even when me and you are going back and forth and your team and we're riffing and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck, we got there. There. Okay. Now that we got there, it's like, okay, now this and that and this and this and this. And it's just about, I do love just like kind of riffing with anybody and just getting to that point where you have those click moments all the time where all of a sudden, because the hardest part is aligning. Right? We don't know each other. We're not best friends from back in the day. So it's really hard to understand your taste on and what your sensibilities are on making content. Then the hardest part is me, where I've made most of my content by myself. So now working with people like you, I think the hardest part is to align. Luckily, we've been able to do that very quickly, which allows us to once you find out that little idea, that those 3, 4, 5 couple words that all of a sudden make you stoked, make you feel a lot, make you like, we did it. Okay, now let's do the thing. Here's like just naming a show, understanding like what those next 10, 15 episodes are gonna be. Understanding like all these kind of things like, I love creating, I guess, like I love the ideation of things. I love being able to work with others genuinely if I like them. But it is like one of those things where it is so exciting. It is the fun. That's the fun stuff. And also, I love making the content because the thing about it is my entire career is one take. Like a lot of people don't really understand that it's like, my shows are one takes. I don't do 2 takes. I don't do 3 takes. I do my entire career is a riff. It's from I don't have writers. I don't have producers. I don't have anything. It really is like I go in front of the camera. I try to go as blank as possible into the situation, and I take a deep breath and I do whatever the fuck I do, and but for me to be able to do that. To be myself, all the other things have to click. And if it doesn't really make sense, right? And so that's where all the work really comes in, because once again, it's really exciting to do the creative and to get to a place where everyone's happy and excited and wants to go forward. And then once all that is nailed down and the editing's all nailed down and we have trust, then I can go and just be myself and be this caricature of myself, maybe is better to say. But those are the best. That's the best kind of situation for me personally.
Yeah, and the audience has responded to that. Is that like because they can tell when all those pieces haven't clicked, right? And and when they do, and you see the response as you have with how people have embraced a variety of shows. I mean, Just a Dash and Homestyle Cookery are very different shows. I mean, it's a different tone. They've become different things, and yet audiences love them for different reasons. And I think that there's certainly a lot coming up next year, which we can talk about in a minute, that I think is just a continual evolution of that. Maybe just for a minute, talk a little bit about Just a Dash and maybe where that show started for you and kind of what you wanted that to be, and then what it's become, because it really has evolved into this really unique type of show for YouTube in general. There's not a lot of shows like this. This is not just your everyday cooking show. This is something really unique to you and the team that's working on it.
Well, thanks for those nice words. Just a Dash started as us being fed up. To be, do you want the real? Do you want like the real shit?
Yeah. I mean, hey,
yeah? Okay.
If it gets too real, we'll talk about it. But I think
but I mean, Just a Dash is us. I left working with Viceland and Vice and Munchies. And I went and I tried to, go to Los Angeles, get a TV show, get, this whole thing, right? Yeah. And it's not as easy as everybody thinks it is. And it's certainly not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And the frustration that came from that, from about a year of getting, getting an agent, doing all these things, and going to Los Angeles and having meetings and meetings and meetings and meetings. And the thing that where Just a Dash truly formed was me just being like, you know what? My fans like me. I got a fan base. I am literally just going to make something for them. I don't give a fuck about making money. I don't give a fuck about, getting a deal. I don't care about anything. I'm gonna pay for it myself. I'm gonna take literally my life savings and invest truly in myself. And I had to have a really big conversation with Trish and be like, hey, I don't need to. I'd like to make my own show with no producer, no director, nobody. Me, my camera crew, my sound guy, one food stylist helper, and I'm gonna go into the house and we're gonna make a show. And there's gonna be literally no communication before, and they're just gonna show up. They're not even gonna know the episodes I'm gonna cook. I'm not maybe gonna know the episodes I'm gonna cook, and I'm just gonna cook and make a show. Then Trish was like, okay, go for it. I believe in you. If this is what you want to do, let's do it. And I got my whole crew kind of back together from Vice, because it's like I got my crew that I've been making content with my entire Vice career. It's been the same kind of crew from day one. I love them. It's something that I genuinely love them. And I was like, we're gonna make this show, and they're like, what are we making? I'm like, it's called Just a Dash. And I came up with the name like the day before we even shot. I didn't even have a name for the show. I was like, we'll come up with the name as we do the show. You know, like, why do we always, that's the thing too, is like, I always think it's like, why do we need the name of the fucking show? Why is the name of the show so important?
Because it was pitched in so long before. It was pitched in so long before, and there's so much calculation going on with it.
There's so much, and I was just like, I just wanted the rawest, realest thing I've ever done. I was like, even with Vice, I think the early Vice stuff is incredible. The Munchie stuff, I wouldn't be where I am without Vice. I love Vice. I love Viceland. They've given me massive amount of opportunity. But I wanted something where nobody had to say yes or no to anything, and it was just us together. And there was literally not a fucking email sent. Like, here's the laundry list of things. I sent it to Michelle like less than a week away. I was like, just get all these ingredients. Some things we're gonna do, some things we're not gonna do. Just make sure you just get all of these ingredients. We're gonna put them in the house, and every morning we're gonna be like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this, let's do that. We'll have a couple minutes to wrap on something. And we shot, we shoot 2 episodes a day. We shoot 12 episodes in 6 days straight. You know, some days are 18-hour days, and that's where the insanity comes through, and that's where you're watching me crumble. You're watching me. You know, we're having a playoff season by ourselves. You know, like we're in the cut. There's no getting out unless we make the show, right? You know, a lunch break is when we're done, because the way that we shoot it too, and this may be even something that people don't even realize, we do both full performances of both the episodes, one after the other.
Yeah.
Then once that is done, we have lunch, and then we shoot a full second pass of both episodes. So we shoot 4 kind of episodes a day, and it's just something that is, and my kitchen's kind of small. The everything's tight, and it's like we're on this submarine, and that's where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the show was going to be until Tort, who films it and edits it, you know, when he showed me the first clip, I didn't know it was going to be as meta as it was, or as like you know, veil removing and showing, like lifting up the curtain of how the show was made. And it just, from his creativity and my trust with him and his trust with me, Just a Dash was kind of born. And then season 2 was, once again, like, we honestly did the exact same thing, but we were more mentally prepared to bring more chaos.
You embraced it. You embraced it and leaned into it. We really kind of, we understood, and we were so scared. I was so scared of, like, Just a Dash season 1 was pure. You know, there was no pre-context. There was that is, to me, season 1 is just, it's pure. To me, that was a special thing. It always will be. It's like that's the first time I ever got to do whatever I wanted to do. Whatever I wanted to do. That's it. You know, that was a thing. There was no contracts. There was no paper. Yeah.
It was just such an amazing thing. Everyone told me their day rates. So I said, okay, let's go. You know, that was it, kind of thing. And season 2 is just banana town, and it's just like the editing is wild, and it's not a cooking show; it's a human show, and there's nothing like it in the fucking world. That's and right. There's nothing like it on YouTube. I've never seen a culinary show like that on any platform, and love it or hate it or indifferent, it's one of a kind. There's nothing like it. Nobody can even try to do it because they don't even know how to make something like that, because it's just friends making something special. And this may sound like cocky or something, but it's just, you know, like, it is one of those things where I'm just like, it's maybe not the best. It's certainly the most creative, and it's something that's never been done before. And I truly believe that.
No, Matty,
you know?
I mean,
and I don't think it's the biggest. I don't think it's the biggest show. I don't think it's the best show. But it's just something that, like, no one can step to it. Honestly, you know. No,
I mean, I think this is what, you know, on a larger scale. I mean, you kind of came to YouTube as like, you know what, I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to build something myself. But what it allows for, and I think that, you know, one of the reasons I love having this conversation and kind of sharing this conversation is that the fact of the matter is that how people are learning to cook has changed. You know, that there is a lot of what you are doing, and kind of this idea of people turning to YouTube and to online video to learn to cook, that is totally different from how it has been in the past. It is the new way that the new generation is learning how to, you know, cook food for their families. And yet it's also 100%. A way that people are learning how to, it's just a shift in what food entertainment looks like. And reaching, like I said before, 38 million views across your shows in this past year. And to me, that's because of the fact of what you just talked about. It's the creativity. It's just there's no restraints. You get to make what you want to make, and people relate to that. People respond to that, and I think that is going to be. And hopefully, for a lot of people, that's the new expectation. They want to see that creativity come life, because then they get shows like Just a Dash, and kind of shifting to your next series on kind of next cooking show on the channel with Homestyle Cookery. That was in tandem with your cookbook launch, and which is also a totally new way of launching a cookbook, is actually showing people the recipes that they're going to get in the book, cooking through that with them. It's this really unique kind of pairing of those two pieces. And your cookbook went on to be a New York Times bestseller. The Homestyle Cookery has continued and has been, I know, a really, really great resource for people who really want to just dive into those recipes and learn not only how to cook that particular dish, but teaching them a lot of skills and other things that just come by watching it and being entertained. How has that process been different and kind of, especially in tandem with your cookbook, than Just a Dash? Because it's a very different show.
Yeah, it is. I think, with Homestyle Cookery, once again, it was like a new beginning. It was, my team and your team coming together and trying to figure out how to do something. And I think it was like that we had that click moment where it was just like, we were trying to figure out a show. And then I was just like, well, I got a book coming out. Why don't I just make a show where I'm cooking the recipes? And I was just like, I don't want to write more recipes. I just wrote all these recipes for this book. Like, why don't I just do the book? The cooking, like it, like that, it just made sense. And then I was like, I'm gonna read the head notes and make fun of it and troll it and make fun of the recipes, and I'll be able to show that you don't necessarily like recipes, especially like with just straight like kind of cooking, besides baking, everything is such a variable. If you don't have cilantro, you can have tarragon. They're guidelines. Recipes aren't laws. They aren't anything. And if somebody doesn't have chicken, most of the time they could probably use pork or fish. It's just those things that like, I always have tried to realistically give people building blocks. Yeah. And they can build their little fortress of solitude or culinary fortune through that. And I think like, I just want people, I really just want to get people stoked on cooking. I want to spark something that like, maybe they want to cook because I make them laugh. Maybe they cook because they think I make something great. Maybe they want to cook because they think they can do it better. Because most of the time, the magic of me cooking on YouTube really too, is I'm not really trying to cook well. I'm not trying to cook like I would cook in my restaurants. I'm able to kind of like completely turn off my restaurant brain and my like chef brain and just be like me, cooking at home, cooking with my friends, and just do this like fun thing where like the process for that is kind of even easier because I don't even have to think. I already did the work when I wrote the book. So it's just like, once again, it's just like, I already have that format. That's like something I never did before. Because I can like, I'm able to like make fun of my own head note, and that's a bit. Then I can like reference that constantly, and the book becomes kind of the heel of the joke, right? Where it's just kind of one of those things that I can like, I'm able to, it was once we figured out the idea, and once we had that click moment, the rest becomes so much easier, right? Yeah. Because it is like one of those things where I have that natural ability to, cook and talk at the same time all day long. Maybe that's why a lot of people can't, I'm able to cook and talk at the same time. I'm able to tell stories and cook at this. A lot of people can't do that. Maybe that's why they do videos where they do videos and do voiceovers after. They just want to concentrate. And that's the thing where it's just like, I want my shows to always be me cooking for you, right? And
it feels that way. It feels that way as a viewer, that you get to, you're in the kitchen with you. You know, you're in the kitchen, and whether it's your crew in Just a Dash, or whether you feel like it's this kind of one-on-one, you know, conversation with you in Homestyle Cookery, and it comes across. And I think there's also something real about it too. You know, you're talking about what you can switch in and out for ingredients, but it's also about showing mistakes, or if something happens in the kitchen. I think for a lot of people that are just starting to cook, it becomes really stressful. You know, it's like wait, you added this before this. That's not what the recipe says, and it shows you how to kind of roll with it, because I think that's freeing for a lot of people when they see that. It's not what they used to see in food shows on television, and again, I think it's why a lot of people have resonated with it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like, it is, like I always say, it's like Just a Dash, or any of my cooking shows, literally any of just my cooking shows, has been like, you know, lifting the veil, pulling back the curtain, and just kind of showing the reality of, like, cooking shows is a joke. It's a facade. It's a fallacy. It's a lie. You know, every single, like, it is, or it was. Now there's a lot of people, you know, doing. Showing the mistakes, showing the spills, showing the overmeasures. And, I think that it's just at the beginning, like, you know, I'm not sure I'm the first person to do this kind of stuff, but I'm certainly somebody that has been consistent with it, you know, and trying to keep it fresh, you know, at the same time, and try to just show that a lot of people, and this is a super cliche thing to say, but like, the missing ingredient is you. You know, like, every single person likes something a little more spicier. Somebody hates cilantro, it tastes like soap, or somebody loves vinegar, or somebody, you know, like, and that's the thing, is like, once you cook a recipe once, then you can, like, really kind of play. It's like, you got to know the rules to break them. Yeah. Right? I think, like, I'm a very perfect example of that kind of wheelhouse, right? Like, I really, you know, as a Eurocentric French-trained chef, then who people probably don't even know I am, and that's okay, and I don't really care. But it's still just like one of those things that it's just, it's one of those things where I want to just, that's not fun to watch. I love to watch that. I would love to watch a show where I just watch somebody meticulously make some, perfect, pâté en croûte, or something that is this beautiful thing, or, but it maybe people do, but it's just not my lane, right? Like, it's not my place to shine. And I think I kind of, somehow fell into my own hole that I made myself, and now I'm just living here slapping around in the mud, and it's kind of nice and warm, you know?
Well, I think that, in talking about all of this that you've done this past year, I think it's really, a lot of it is about laying the groundwork for what's coming this upcoming year in 21. And, there's a lot of it is, a continuation of the things that you've been building. But I know that there's always ways that you're wanting to push, not only improving the shows and the things that you're currently working on, but trying new things. You're constantly wanting to expand, what you're doing creatively, and what that then can return to the audience. And so, maybe not talking about the specific things, but what for you this upcoming year is really important to be pushing. Like, where do you want to see kind of that universe that you're building with your crew, your friends? Where do you want that to go next year?
Well, I think, once again, traveling is so up in the air. So, really concentrating on things that we can, one of the biggest silver linings of the pandemic has been, I've been able to focus actually on a foundation.
Yeah.
A real foundation of content creating and restaurants and everything else that comes. When I'm flying around the world doing the thing that I've been doing for a couple of years, there isn't really too much time to make real things, like build that actual foundation.
Right.
And so for being home this year, it's been such a truly, I've been able to build my world actually and take more control and be able to build, we built 2 restaurants and the book and the shows and everything else. And now I just took a new space. We just signed the lease yesterday. So we got a space in, it's like 2 doors down from this office. And that's gonna be, I'm gonna have it kind of as 2 things. And then maybe I'll make content out of the other thing, but it's gonna be a genuine test kitchen for my actual, one of my restaurants that I'm doing. I'm making this pretty fancy restaurant. So there's gonna be a little test kitchen in there, which we're gonna be doing, a lot of fermentation and garums and fucking kojis and misos and all this kind of stuff. We're gonna be having like a full kind of fermentation lab type thing in there. And we're gonna be having a studio on the other side to make, maybe hopefully the biggest, best cooking show I've ever made. So it is one of those things that like that's at the forefront. I'm shooting a 2nd season of Eat Out America in like late January. What else am I doing? I got, I think 3 leases on 3 other restaurants that we're gonna be building. To be honest, I'm almost done my I'm almost done my outline for book 3 already.
Jeez.
I don't know. I'm starting like a clothing. I'm starting we took a space also in this building, and we started a clothing factory that we're going to be making like Canadian workwear. So we bought all the sewing machines, and we're going to like legitimately like make and sew all of our own clothing. I got, a couple, it's just every, and then the Matheson cookware, like we have our cast iron pan. We've already sold out the full second half of 2021 for that already. So we've sold a lot of cast iron pans already. Yep. And now we just have to work out. Now we're once again, it's like we're learning from our mistakes, and we're learning quickly what we have to do. And we're learning, now we're figuring out how to set up like distribution for some of these things in Australia and in Europe and in the UK and like all this stuff. So then all of a sudden people will be able, hopefully, I'm just setting up like a global business. So, we're doing some stuff, but it's, we're learning. It's like right now I got a team of 3. And that's like, honestly, like we got a team of 3 at the core. And then we have these amazing people around us, like you, like at Made In and everybody. And that we're working with them. I got my Just a Dash crew. I got my clothing crew. I got, my restaurant. I have my 2 restaurant partners that focus on all of our restaurants. And, I have kind of like, all of our divisions. We keep the team small, and we keep it tight. We keep it full of people that we kind of love and respect. And that way, everything that we do is genuinely an uphill battle towards a really nice life together.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I can speak for us is that in the food space, when people are making the recipes that we're putting out, and you see them cooking at home with their friends and family, requesting other dishes of, I want to see what Matty, does with this dish. How there's this genuine like interaction with people, and that's the part that I love so much that you're so great about, and that I think inspires the teams around you, and is And what we hope to do with the content in this next year is really be able to kind of play into that even more of like, what are the things that people are really genuinely excited about seeing you make, and the food that they're passionate about, that you're passionate about, because I think that there are probably dishes that you've made that have through videos that have become like, this is what people make for their families. It's a staple every single week. I mean, there's and that's exciting.
Crazy. It's very exciting, and it's like so like humbling. Like the amount, it's so wild. The amount of people that even made, and just because it just happened like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But like the amount of people that made that butternut squash with the stuffing,
right?
And I made it as like a vegetarian option, like in one of the vegetable recipes in my book. And the amount of people that made that dish, that it was just a side, and like a lot of people just were making that as a side, and they still had their turkey or their prime rib or whatever they were making. Yeah. But it's so interesting to see like that ripple, right? And to see how many people, even like the amount of people that make like the mac and cheese with Cheeto crust on top, right. Or the amount of people that like even just making the cheeseburgers, like still like my very first video ever, like that cheeseburger video is like so crazy, and it is like it's wild the amount of people that have cooked dishes that have come from my brain and like has come from the content, that has and it is one of those things that's wild. Like I don't know what it's like for other people that create content, but it's just like to be able to see like the amount of people, like thousands of people weekly are cooking the dishes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so wild. Like a video can go up within an hour. Sometimes people are cooking the dish. And it's such a wild thing because it's like they really want to cook, and that's it. Like that's the thing that I think is like the greatest thing, and I say this all the time. I've written it, I've talked about it, and it's just like cooking builds self-esteem.
Yeah.
Doing something builds self-esteem, builds self-confidence. That's the coolest thing too. Yeah. And you get to eat something that's like delicious. or not, but you get to learn from your mistakes, but it's still just like one of those things that it's incredible. It really is like just an amazing thing that happens every single week. And sometimes it's twice a week when we have Just a Dash and we slingshot it with Homestyle cookery, and it's just like it's one of those things that's wild. And you're seeing people cook that, and then they're like, oh, 'cause people eat every day. People, they can just every single week. They're like, what? There's a lot of people that are like the one meal a week they cook at home maybe is something that I've created or inspired them to do, and that is like, it's a really cool thing.
It speaks to the relationship that audiences do have with this type of programming and what you do. And I think that, as I said before, that's a shift. That's an evolution of you're watching something both for entertainment but also for utility. Hey, what am I making this week for my family? Let me pull up a recipe. Let's see what the video was, and let me follow along. It's a really unique thing.
And I will say, like for content, if the amount of people that make recipes out of my book, it's like 99% the ones I make videos for.
Yeah.
And that's a fact. If I could have made a video for every single recipe in my book, and like that's the thing that like is like people are like every time they see a photo, there's a video that goes with it. Right. Every time there's 135 recipes. We made 27, 30 videos, there's 105 recipes in that book that I never made a video for. Right. So we're seeing like the power of video like the power of influence through video, and the power of just reciprocal. They watch it, they want to cook it. Yep. It's just the evolution of like, and I'm seeing other content people, chefs, everyone, like I haven't seen a lot of people make an entire YouTube show for promoting their book. I'm seeing it now, you know, and I think that's great. You know, like it is what it is. Like everyone's got their own lane, everyone's got their own fans. Some cross over, some don't. But I think it's just like one of those things where I was just like, oh, there's another brick in the road. There you go, everybody. Come on down.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's why I think, you know, going back to you always kind of pushing what that next creative thing is that it's exciting and it's fulfilling for the teams around you to be able to go like, let's go get it, like new idea, next thing we can go after. Let's go and push that boundary, because like that's the fun of it. That's the fun, and that's where the magic comes from, as you said before.
That's it, and it's just like your imagination is your only enemy.
Yeah.
You know, once you really kind of take the thing about, you know, YouTube is sink or swim. And I get frustrated sometimes. Everybody gets frustrated sometimes. And it doesn't drive me to a dark place. It drives me to a place of like, I need to be more creative. I need to get better at what I'm doing. I need to learn from my mistakes. I need to get up. I need to create. I need to, you know, like it is that thing that like, it's not a negative thing.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing that pushes us all towards like we are rippling that effect. We're rippling that positivity. We're rippling like it helps me that I'm like, I need to shake it up a bit. I need to do something new now. Like I see 3 people doing the thing I just did, or I'm like, I see something that inspires me from somebody else. Then I'm like, that may work if I do it like this, and if I do it like that. And then it's just, once again, it's just like, what is that next step? And it always is like, what is that next step? What is, there's no bound, like it's my imagination. If I come up with the idea, I can produce it and I can make it. So it's one of those things that it's my fault. You know, it's nobody else's fault. It's my fault that I haven't created the biggest, best show again. You know, or like I always think of it that way. Like there's nobody else, nobody's holding me back. You know, it's one of those things that nobody's holding you back. Once you dive into this, it's you have to kind of just keep pushing. You know.
Well, Matty, this has been awesome talking to you as always. Really excited about this next year. And I appreciate you taking the time amidst everything you've got going on. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Shout out to everybody at Made In. Love you guys. Thank you for everything. Let's go, 2021.
Hell yeah.
Matty's house.
Real quick. All right.